Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Community Voices digital offering right here on the Arts Engagement Facebook page. My name is Katie Haroff, and I am your host and a programs manager with the Old Globe. This is our third of 9 workshops in this series. The other offerings are available on our page a little bit lower down, as well as on the Community Voices digital offering event pages. You can find that in our events link on our main page. However, you should be a-okay to enjoy this presentation today, even if you haven't seen a single workshop in the past. My helpers are currently working to get the handout into the comments section. So if it's not there just yet, hang tight. It will be there very soon. You don't need it just yet, and I will reference it when you do. Though we are building each week towards our ultimate goal for everyone watching to be able to develop their own short play, each workshop is individually fun and helpful for any writer along their journey towards play development. Today, we'll be exploring writing and developing dialogue for the stage, and this is something that any writer can benefit from. As always, I have my incredible assistants here with me today, Mickey Vale and Gil Sotu. Hey, you two. Hey, it's nice to see you. Let's kick things off with a little check-in today. Today's check-in is, who in your life would you describe as having a big character? And what about them gives them this kind of character? Gil, let's go first with you.
The person I immediately think of is my friend Dan from Ventura, Dan Flores. Huge character. He could talk your ear off about heavy metal to like deep cuts in hip hop to like World of Warcraft to politics, and every time he steps in the room, it's an instant party, but he's just a real good guy. So people always want to be around him. Yeah.
I want to be around him.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Hey, Mickey, how about you? Who is someone in your life that you would describe as having a big character?
Someone in my life who has a very big character is Rick Scales. He's a rapper. He's one of the best rappers I've ever witnessed, and he just has a huge personality. He's always telling stories. From the moment he's in your presence, he's always got a story. He's either talking about it or rapping about it, and he'll freestyle and tell jokes and raps and just go all night rapping. His personality is gigantic.
How cool. I want to meet him too. Now I'm going to invite our guests up today. We have 2 very special performing guests today that will be helping us throughout our workshop to share with you some different parts of our lesson today. And I'd like to ask them as well to check in with sharing with us someone in their lives that's a big character. So let's start with Tara Ricasa. Tara is our guest today. Hi, Tara. Great to see you. Who in your life has a really big character?
Oh, man. She's no longer alive, but my Lola, which is my grandmother on my dad's side, was tiny. She was under 5 feet, but she could take up an entire room when she walked into it. And she was always in the kitchen. So whenever we went over there to visit, even if you had already had breakfast, lunch, and a snack before dinner, you would always eat because she could stare you down and just with the look of her little face, make you feel like the world was crumbling around you.
Oh, she's fabulous. I wish I could have met her too. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you for being here today, Tara.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and our other special guest today is Jerry Flores, another teaching artist, actor with the Old Globe. Jerry, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Let us, who is a big character in your life?
Because the first person that came into mind was my aunt Chacha, my tia Chacha. And she's the kind of person that will spring up from the table on Christmas dinner and start bursting into song and then encourage you to join her and then make you sing. And just, she's always so optimistic and just brings a smile and an energy to the room that's unmatchable. So, yeah.
These are fabulous. I wish we could put all of these big characters into a play together. Thank you all so much for sharing. A big character in my life is the director of the Globe's Arts Engagement Department, Mr. Freedom Bradley Valentine. Freedom is a great friend. He has this incredible energy that's inspiring, and he's incredibly motivating as a boss. He's just the best boss in the world. And when he laughs, he fills up the offices of the Globe. And I miss hearing his laugh at the Globe so much right now. And we're going to continue to have these little discussions about our lives and looking at our lives for resources of inspiration to continue to encourage you to look at your own life as an inspiration for your play. Who in your life would you describe as having a big character? If you'd like to share, feel free to type it in the comments today. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next part of our workshop. I've been getting a lot of really positive responses from starting this off with a little physical and body check-in. So we're going to do another one of those right now. Again, this moment would usually be us breaking into a theater game with a group of folks just to reset your minds for a creative moment. So this check-in with your body is just a small way for us to create a similar effect. Let's take a moment now to leave everything before this time somewhere else, and let's reset for some fun creativity. In order to help you do that, I'm going to talk us through the 4-7-8 breathing technique. A lot of you have maybe done this before. This breathing exercise has been studied and is shown to decrease stress and anxiety in your body. Sometimes I'll do it before sleep when I'm really amped up, and it definitely helps me relax. I hope it's helpful for all of you right now. We're going to go through it just 3 times. But first, let's find a good seat with both of our feet planted firmly on the floor. Go ahead and bring your shoulders up and down your back and your body. Have a nice tall posture for this. Now let's just go ahead and take a deep breath to reset. Hold it at the top and then let it all the way go. And go ahead and do that again. And let it go. Now the 4-7-8 breathing technique works like this. You're going to inhale as much air as you can for 4 seconds, hold it on the inhale for 7 seconds, and then you're going to exhale on 8 seconds. It might take you a couple of times to feel really comfortable with that. So we're going to do it a couple of times. Go ahead and empty out whatever breath you have now. And inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now go ahead and let your breath return to normal. And just take a moment, see how you feel. And thank you for joining in, if you did join in. And if you just watched me guide you all through a breathing exercise, that's cool too. We all just got to do what we need to do right now. Now I'm going to hand things over to the fabulous Mickey Vale, who is going to lead us through today's writing warm-up. You ready for that, Mickey?
Yes.
All right, take it away.
All right, so today's warm-up is called 6-Word Memoir. And The goal of this activity is to sum up a moment in your life when you felt the most vibrant or the most alive, a moment when you felt your truest self. And the trick is you have to do it in 6 words, no more, no less. So it could be any moment when you felt alive. This could be a statement such as, life is beautiful and worth living. And that could be for a moment when maybe you were feeling down, everything around you seemed gray, and then suddenly there was a moment when the clouds parted and the sun kind of shined through a little bit, and you felt this spark of hope and just remembered that life is beautiful and worth living. It could be when you held your child for the first time, or when you your first kitten took its first steps. Or it could be a statement. It could be a statement, or it could be something more abstract or poetic, such as an example I would use for myself would be art, soul, magic, raised rosé glasses. And that's for the first time I ever traveled out of the country and performed out of the country. And I was in this little bar, this underground bar in France, and there was artists from all over the world. It was a soul music night, and we had a bottle of rosé, and we raised our glasses and we toasted, and it was something I knew I wanted to do for every single moment for the rest of my life. So 6 words that embody a moment that made you feel like this is life, this is living. And that's it.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Mickey, for guiding us through that. And I would love to encourage anyone out there watching, if one comes to mind and you feel like sharing it today, just go ahead and type it into the comments section below, and we'd love to read what you come up with. And we're going to bring up our actors back today, Jerry Flores and Tara Ricasa, who also took the time to fill out their own 6-word memoir today, inspired by this prompt. And we like sharing with you lots of examples so you can get some inspiration for your own prompt. Let's start with Jerry this time. Hey, Jerry, what is your 6-word memoir?
Okay, so I wrote down graceful, hopeful, like a musical transition.
You know, I always wait for more, but it's just 6 words, so it's pretty short. So Jerry, what inspired your memoir today?
It was more just like a collection of, you could say even like right now, whenever I feel like happy or hopeful right now in these, scary moments, or in general, just throughout life, whenever I feel like at peace, it's just those moments that feel like, okay, it's gonna get better, or like we can get through this kind of stuff, and it's beautiful and it flows. So yeah.
Well, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Very inspiring and musical theater-y, just like you. Tara, what was yours? What did you develop?
Okay, I wrote it down. Basking atop rounded boulder, hemispheres away.
Ooh, I like it. What inspired you to write this memoir today?
It's kind of cloudy and gray outside, and I haven't been outside in a while. So this took me right back to a trip that I had taken to Brazil with some friends, and we found this just kind of deserted beach where nobody was, and there was a stray dog that had come and started walking along with us, and we climbed up on top of some boulders that were jetting out of the water in this beautiful little turquoise bay. And I just remember standing atop of that boulder and taking everything in and feeling the sun on my skin and the water and the scent of the ocean, and just feeling young and alive and at ease with everything.
I love that. And I love that you brought us all there with you right now, because I think we would all like to be standing on a boulder and feeling the wind in our hair at this moment. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that with us. And thank you both for taking the time to fill those out for us today. We're going to see you both just a little bit later in today's broadcast. So thank you again for being here. And once again, if any of you are inspired to write your own 6-word memoir, we'd love to read it. Please share it in the comment section below with each other today. We are going to be taking the rest of today's workshop to experiment with dialogue in connection to the play idea brainstorming chart from last week, while utilizing our new handout today, which I am very hopeful that it is in the comment sections now. I have just gotten word that it is in the comment sections right now. So there it is. Go ahead and open that up just for your reference throughout today. This is going to be your homework, but we're going to give you lots of information of how to use this, how best to fill it out throughout the rest of our workshop today. And we also shared, again, the play idea brainstorming chart for anybody that missed last week, didn't fill it out last week, just wants to have one handy. We will be kind of referencing this a bit today. And it is the tool that we're utilizing to jump off into exploring dialogue. So if you haven't had a chance to fill it out yet, I highly suggest taking the time to at least think about all of the elements in this chart before digging into dialogue, because it's going to be very helpful to you. And we're going to show you why or how that's going to be helpful to you all today. So the new handout today it's going to be pretty straightforward. The document is intended for you to write experimental dialogue on. This does not need to be the dialogue that you actually use in the play that you're going to develop. This is just one more opportunity to explore the inner workings of your piece before you even get started. And hopefully it will help the beginners out there demystify the process of developing their new works through dialogue before you even have to do it. So let's go ahead and open up this document. We'll open it up too, and we're going to start deconstructing and exploring with dialogue. So Gil, if you could come back up for us. Why don't you just read through the prompt for everyone, if you don't mind?
Sure, no problem. I'd love to do it. So
The
prompt is, for this exploration in dialogue, character 1 has something that character 2 wants, but will not give them this thing. If you could use this exercise to explore the tone of the character you'd like to write about in your 10-minute play, please do. If you'd like to use this page as an exploration in using dialogue to tell a story, that's okay too.
Thanks, Gil. We broke down a little bit. There's some more information on here. Underneath that prompt is a character list. If you filled out that play idea brainstorming chart, you already have a really great character description right there. If you'd like to use that character on this handout today, I strongly recommend it. Or you can come up with 2 completely new people, but do take a moment to describe who they are, so that can be influential in your dialogue as well. And just remember that it's character 1 that has something that character 2 wants. So that's probably going to influence who is what character as well. But give us a little description in the character list so other people can know who they are too. And then below the character list, we have the layout for dialogue. All you're going to do is write the name of the character speaking and then the line of dialogue that they're saying below. Gil and Mickey both wrote their own versions of this today to share that we're going to discuss. So let's start with Gil. Gil, how did you fill out this sheet for today?
So I have 2 characters. First character's name is Philip. He is a lazy charmer, 23 years old, working part-time at Ben & Jerry's and overstaying his welcome at his parents' house. And character 2 is Deacon. Philip's father in his 40s, works for the post office. And you want me to go through the dialogue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So Philip, you didn't tell Mom, did you? Deacon, your arrest is now public record, son. Are you suggesting I keep what the world already knows about you from her? You trying to get me in trouble too? Philip, can you just get me out of here? I have work and a Call of Duty tournament later today. Please, Pop. Deacon, called your boss. Yeah, he's not too worried about you coming in. Philip, what we are all more concerned about is what are you going to do to mine? What are you going to mine out of this situation? What is that supposed to mean? That means that you are staying in here to serve your time while I go enjoy a pancake breakfast at IHOP. I want IHOP. Well, I want a son who takes responsibility for his actions. I want a son who wouldn't even consider breaking into Mrs. Madison home and doing the things you did to her cat and pet iguana. And you Snapchatted it. It's crazy here in here. I'm really scared, Dad. What am I supposed to do next? My best answer? You need to take this time to really sit and imagine what road you're going to be taking for the next several years of your life. I need to get those pancakes, but I'll be here for you, son, when you get out. I'll always be here.
Thank you, Gil. Thank you so much for sharing your writing today.
No problem.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because I totally put my assistants on the spot. I told them to write something new. Gil, how long did it take you to develop that dialogue?
Less than half an hour, 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, if you have taken the time to brainstorm about what you'd like to explore, just the act of writing dialogue should be pretty painless.
Yeah.
It shouldn't feel like a big weight of you trying to come up with the most incredible pieces of dialogue possible, especially for this handout. It should be pretty painless. It should be an exercise of an exploration. But what inspired you specifically, Gil, to develop this story?
Like most things these days and age, my kids. So my son was in his room playing by himself, and he was singing a song that went something like, I don't want to go to jail because my family will worry about me. And he kept repeating it over and over again. So I had to remix it into I'm going to get an education. So, so that I just kind of put myself in the future and what would happen if something did go wrong, and just played it out. But that'll never happen.
Never. It would never happen. His kid is the sweetest little guy in the whole world. And
Yeah.
like, where did that even come from? But I love that you used that as inspiration. This moment that happened to you in your real life that you actually brought into our last workshop has kind of stayed with you, and things will, especially if you start to look for the potential of what could become theater. And the fact that you like jumped into a future fictional world to kind of explore this scenario playing out, that Jack that your kid imagined, is really fun and really creative, and it will never happen. He's never going to get in trouble.
No. I knocked on all the wood in the house after I wrote
this.
this.
Perfect angel, and we love him. But it was fun to hear your experimental dialogue through this. Right. Mickey, let's bring up Mickey. What did you develop? What did you write?
Well, I wrote character 1 is named FloJ. She is a professional rapper with a very large fan base, and she is at a club and she meets a producer, character 2, who she had been following on SoundCloud, and his name is Nick. He's a producer and he goes by the name Beatnik, and he's very popular on SoundCloud.
Okay, let's hear the dialogue.
Okay, so the first line is FloJ. Yo, Beatnik, it's really great to connect with you. I listen to your music on SoundCloud and I'm really feeling your beats. Beatnik, I'm sure you do. FloJ, excuse me? Beatnik, a lot of people are really feeling my beats. FloJ, yeah, you are a really good producer. So that beat you have on SoundCloud called Soulfire, it really did set my soul on fire and it inspired me to write. I wrote a whole song to it. I wanted to know if I could license it from you to use on my album. Beatnik, look, you're cute and all, but women shouldn't rap. FloJ, wait, what did you say? Beatnik, I said girls can't rap. FloJ, you're kidding me, right? Beatnik, the only rapping a woman can do for me is wrap her legs around me.
Oh! Mickey with the surprise twist ending. Oh, I love it, Mickey. How exciting. I instantly want to go. I want to know what's going to happen next. But what inspired you to develop that piece? It's not something that happened, right?
No, nothing, nothing like that. But it was inspired by, there have been times when there's been male artists who felt like women shouldn't be rapping, that we don't have anything to talk about. So that's what inspired it.
Well, and I think both of these pieces have so much potential to move forward, which you might find you'll get through your 10 lines of dialogue and you'll instantly feel like this isn't enough. I know what's happening next. And this is a moment where I definitely want to know what happens next. And maybe you feel incredibly inspired to continue. What will happen next, Mickey? What might happen next?
I don't know. I don't know. Gil, do you have an idea? Maybe.
Yeah, Gil, how could Mickey expand on this if she were to be forced to by a person like myself?
If someone's a rapper, they're up in the front and they have a bold personality for the most part a lot of times. So I think that she would take the drink that she was gonna buy him, just to butter him up to get his beats, pour it over his head, and then start freestyling about him. Everybody crowds around in the club, and that creates a moment. She gets seen by the right person, and that starts launching her career.
Yes, I love that.
It's like Eminem in the lunch line, and
yeah.
But now there's a producer watching, and she didn't know that he was there.
Right. Yes, and she wins.
Yeah.
I love that we're inspiring each other to move forward in our plays, which we can do with you all as well. If you want to share with us where you're at or what you're stuck on, we can certainly do this with you, give you our own ideas of how your writing inspires us. And I wanted to just take a moment to kind of make a point as to how that dialogue that both Mickey and Gil developed was really strong. Beyond that, it was entertaining, that we got to learn about who these characters were and what their situation was. These two writers very specifically have taken some time to find some nuanced ways to explore their dialogue. So some of those elements that you might have recognized is that it's light. It doesn't give itself away. We get to learn what these characters are learning as they're learning it through the dialogue. Gil's father character didn't walk into the space and immediately just say, well, son, this is what happened to you, and this is why you're here, and this is what you need to do. No, the more entertaining way to explore that is to let it come very naturally through a discussion between two of your characters, and that the reveal of where his son was didn't even really come until the end. And that's very natural dialogue too. We don't tend to lead with a lot of exposition when we are talking to people that we already know, that we've connected with. And chances are you're going to use characters that are familiar with each other, that know each other. And so having to explain what they're doing will seem very unnatural. So it's better to just let it be revealed through the action and dialogue as though it's a normal conversation that's being had. And also, I want to make a point to all of you today. Try not to write a ton of sentences for this specific exercise. Anything more than 3 lines of dialogue is considered a monologue. Monologues add a lot of weight, a lot of time to your plays, and sometimes it's a lot more beneficial to be able to see in action whatever this monologue is that's explaining than to hear it. So I'm always going to ask you to kind of err on the side of perform the action rather than explain it. So for this exercise, for the handout and exploring dialogue, let's keep away from monologues as much as possible. I will have a monologue specific workshop for all of you a little later in our time together. So we will go through that. But for this moment in dialogue, let's keep it light. Let's keep it moving. We're going to continue to show examples of this. And I just wanted to take a moment again to thank Mickey and Gil for always being game to get through these exercises with me and to explore their own writing. I'm on this workshop. I'm really grateful to have you both. So for those of you at home that are screaming at me right now, but they're experts. They wrote gorgeous dialogue for today because they've been doing this since forever. I can't do that. Okay, I hear you. I know it takes a lot of energy and courage to get to the point where you want to explore dialogue, but I promise you it's a lot easier than it seems, even the way that these two made it seem today. To show you how easy, I want to invite our actors back today. These actors are going to help us come up with dialogue right on the spot using the fabulous tool of improvisation. Did you know that you are improvising the majority of the dialogue you have in your daily life? You are. That's coming right out of the air and out of your mouth. Every time you held up your end of a conversation, you were improvising. You were also coming up with potential dialogue that you may be able to write down for a play. Yes, that's how easy it is. If you can have a conversation, which I know all of you can write some dialogue. We utilize all of our pre-writing brainstorming work in order to help shape that dialogue into something interesting. And we do this before we get down to writing. And many of you explored that brainstorming in the brainstorming worksheet that I gave out last week. That is once again down in the comments if you need it for reference. And I am so grateful that I received several fabulous filled out brainstorming sheets from folks that are watching hi at home, and got permission from those people to utilize their work for today's digital presentation for our actors to explore some on-the-spot dialogue creation so that we can show you, just how easy and potentially accessible coming up with some exploratory dialogue may be. Tara and Jerry, does this sound okay to you?
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
All right. All right, I'm very excited. So I'm going to share with you the answers to one of the play idea brainstorming charts that I received. Basically, I'm going to summarize all of the different bubbles, all of the important elements so that we can make some decisions as to who Tara and Jerry will be for the purpose of this improvised scene. And they're going to go ahead and go through 10 lines of dialogue. So you can see how hopefully easy it is to come up with that minimum amount of dialogue. Yeah, so they'll be reflecting on the play idea chart, this character that was developed. Okay, so here is the description that one of my viewers put in their play idea chart. Once again, I am not going to be using any real names. The internet and full of trolls, and I don't want to make anybody feel worried about being out. Even though I got permission, I'm still going to change your name. So not Jessica is our main character. She's a history teacher in San Diego, and she now has to teach all of her classes online, and she's terrified her students are going to learn anything. She's activated by this moment to support her students, but she's also very scared about what's happening in this world. This writer thinks that this is a good piece to explore right now because it's relatable, and she hopes to connect to other people that are going through this with her writing. Wonderful. Thank you so much at home, not Jessica, for sharing. Again, to use your real name. So Tara and Jerry, let's kind of set you up for a little improv and see if you can come up with 10 lines of dialogue inspired by not Jessica's play idea brainstorming chart. Since we got such a really great, rich character in Jessica, I would say, let's start with having one of you play her. Tara, would you mind taking on the role of Jessica for this?
I would love to.
Wonderful, thank you very much. So who could Jessica be potentially talking to in this scene for our exploratory dialogue? Jerry, who do you think you might be in Jessica's world? Who would be a good person?
I was thinking either a friend, teacher, or a student, maybe.
Ooh. I think a student is a good one because it's very I mean, she did such a what I want to compliment Jessica for all of the rich elements that she gave us through her brainstorming chart for the purpose of this exercise. We know who other characters might be in this piece. We have a pretty good idea of the struggle that she's going through right now, all because of all of this information that you gave us. We feel pretty comfortable now, kind of just jumping in and playing with dialogue inspired by this. Jerry, I think a student is a really great choice. I'm going to give you two just a little setup inspired by this chart, and I'm then going to let you go for 10 lines of dialogue, and I might interrupt you. Okay. So Jessica is our history teacher. We have Jerry, the student. Let's imagine that you're in a Zoom room together, and the history lesson has just ended, and Jerry, the student, is hanging around to talk to Miss Jessica, our teacher. Okay, sound good?
Got it.
All right, take it away, you two.
Okay, everybody, so just review chapter 8. All right, take a break this weekend. Don't work too hard. And if you have any questions, you know my email. Bye.
Jessica?
Oh, hey, Danny?
Yeah.
Danny, you're good. I don't need that second assignment from you. You're good until next week.
No, yeah, I just wanted to see, I didn't understand this like lesson as well.
Oh, okay. Did you have a specific question?
Well, it was more, I mean, I did understand it, but I was a little bit worried about my grade, because I know like before this all happened, my grade was not doing so well. And I just wanted to see like if maybe like, you know, how is this going to work? And do I have the chance to get it to be better?
Okay, Danny, grades don't count for the next 2 weeks because we don't know if we're even going to be back on campus. Remember that?
I guess, but like.
Okay, so even just the fact that you're showing up right now to talk to me is great. All right, and all the assignments are optional. So you just keep coming and I'll keep giving you more stuff to do to keep you busy. Okay, okay?
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, as you. That was fabulous and really easy, right? Like just very, they're actors. I know I'm using some of the most talented people to show you examples of this, but I want to encourage you at home. Now is a good time to grab your roommate, grab your grandma on Zoom, and explore your own ideas for improv. It might feel really ridiculous, but honestly, what else have you got going on right now? And even if you decide you don't really want to explore with improv, just the act of writing things out, taking notes, using pencil, erasing pencil, that is its own form of improvisation, because everything's just coming out of you on the spot. And since this is an exploration, it's not that serious. You could really hate the first thing you wrote, throw it away, and try again. And it is pretty easy. And improv is a fabulous tool to explore dialogue and how it sounds if you want to improvise. And then you don't even actually have to take the plunge to write things down until you feel comfortable. You can tinker with what works and connect to the honest flow of dialogue, just like these fabulous performers did. So let's go over another example from someone that submitted their piece to my email account, their filled out play idea brainstorming chart. Here's just another rundown of a new play idea. So the main character's name is Jeff. He's a father of 2 and has just gotten through a pretty difficult divorce with a woman who he thought was his best friend. He's having a hard time keeping positive while he's going through these transitions, and he's trying to keep a brave face for his kids. He wants to figure out a way to start dating again, but he has the kids with him most of the time. He's activated because his best friend signed him up for a dating app without him knowing it and has offered to some dates. And not Jeff, because it's not his real name, thinks this is an important story to tell because even though it started in something sad, a divorce, it ends in something hopeful, a chance to make real connections with a new love, which is great. This is a really dynamic play idea brainstorming chart. You give idea for the piece so much potential. So let's bring back Tara and Jerry. We're going to bring them up for another improv. And just as I did with the last one, let's go ahead and Jerry, you play Jeff for the purpose of this. You are our divorced single father who's trying to get back out there again. Get into your character. And who could you be, Tara, in this world? Makes sense to you?
Well, a few different people come to mind. So he has kids, so I could definitely be one of the kids. I could be the best friend who set him up with the app. And I could definitely be a potential date that he is now meeting through the app.
Yeah, and this once again is just a credit to our writer and what they submitted to us. You gave us such a rich description. You really dug into this brainstorming chart, and there are so many places we could start, or so many places we could jump into this idea from, which is just fabulous. I like the idea of you being a date. So that's what I'm going to request, and I think that it's a pretty normal date setup. You two are going to meet for the first time. Jeff, you didn't set up this dating app for you, so maybe your friend gave some weird answers to this person. Who knows? But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys jump in and take it away.
Lizzie?
Elizabeth.
Jeff,
right?
Sorry, it's just like because it had Lizzie.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry. I asked for like non-dairy, but they didn't have any. So I guess, is it okay if it just has a little bit of cream?
Oh, yeah. What? Yeah, I mean, all the cream. I'll take my coffee.
No, your profile. Sorry, I have this thing where I just I have to try and please people, and I kind of take it
my friend filled it out for me, and like he put a lot of stuff that I'm like definitely not vegan, like absolutely. I wish I was, but I'm not. Yeah.
Is that
are you vegan? You're
sorry
not.
To pry. Is that like faux fur then that you're wearing, or
Yeah, very faux.
I'm not vegan, but I am vegetarian, and I do have strong feelings about that. So I thought I'd ask up front.
Oh, you are? Okay. That's
okay. I'm gonna pause. I think I maybe let that go a little longer than 10 lines because I was like, ooh, this is exciting. I love the little trick of, I mean, his friend said he was a vegan. What a fun thing to discover in this. And again, this is just a credit to you. You gave us, or not Jeff, you gave us a really fun prompt to dive into. And I love that scene. And like I mentioned, I would have loved to have watched it for a really long time. So if you happen to get through your 10 lines of dialogue like that, like we did in real life very quickly, and you are really excited to continue, I'm not going to rain on your parade. Continue, keep writing. I'm going to say that I would suggest looking at this specific handout and work to go along with it as an opportunity to experiment. So at the very least, all I really want to do in this moment is take the pressure off of you that this has to be the 10-minute play. This is it. Every line of dialogue has to be perfect. It absolutely does not. In fact, I go through so many drafts of dialogue before I feel even the remoteliest bit confident in it. And to write is to rewrite, especially in the theater world. So we're going to share one more on the spot improvised scene inspired by someone's brainstorming sheet. If you had a moment to look at the handout for today or to start to think of what you're going to do for your own piece and you have some questions, now is a really great time to type them out in the comments. A little bit after this final improv, I'm going to the comments, share any of the 6-word memoirs that came out and answer those questions for all of you today. But we've got one more on the spot improvised scene inspired by a brainstorming sheet. And here is the general info from their character, and go figure, it is also inspired by the quarantine, which is totally understandable, everybody. This is a huge, unprecedented moment in our life, and it is worth exploring through art. So here is their breakdown. Kim, not Kim, is in her 60s, and she's trying to learn how to knit through some online classes so she can occupy her mind during the pandemic. But she's constantly distracted by everything she's trying to accomplish right now and the news. She's activated to learn to knit because her daughter is about to have a new baby, and she wants to make it a blanket before it's born. However, she is very behind on her knitting lessons. Not Kim thinks this is a good piece to explore right now because everyone is in a weird new boat together. Oh, thank you very much for sharing, Not Kim. I totally agree. Like I said, we are all in a similar boat, and this is a great moment to explore what we're going through art. It's a great outlet, and I highly suggest it to everyone out there. But Not Kim, we're going to jump into your scene and see what we might come up with in 10 lines of dialogue. As I have always, I've been casting the main character of this piece, and in this piece, it's Kim. And I want to break the gender norms today, and I'm going to go ahead and say, Jerry, how about you be our Kim the knitter for this improvisation? And if Jerry is Kim the knitter, Tara, who might you be in Kim's world, given our examination of her chart?
Honest answer?
Sure.
My mind went straight to pet, but it didn't go to cat and didn't go to dog. It went to chia.
I love
So
it.
if we're
Not
feeling
Kim.
adventurous.
Okay, Not Kim. We are going to jump really outside of the real world now, and I'm going to let Tara voice your hypothetical chia pet that is potentially with you during this moment. I don't know if you remember last week, but I do like to get weird with it, and I love to encourage people to get outside of the box. A short play is a really great medium to explore fantasy or metaphor, and if you want to be a talking plant, if you want to have a talking plant in your play, please put a talking plant in your play. And let's see what Tara, the talking plant, would like to say, and Jerry, our Kim the knitter, for this short improv. Whenever you two are ready, take it away.
Ooh, I know what I'll do. Okay, this looks super easy. It's a YouTube tutorial, crochet a blanket. I can do this. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna give it so that, yeah, it'll be ready. The baby will have a blanket. I'll make
That's
it.
a great choice.
What? Be honest with me, Porky. Do you think I can make this in 2 weeks?
Honestly? Well, if I chip in about 5 minutes a day, sure.
5 minutes? You're gonna help me, Porky?
Sure, hello.
But you're
That's what I'm here for.
How are you gonna help me?
One thing though,
What?
I need you to chip in a little bit of water in my planter tray. You've been ignoring me for the past 2 weeks every time you watch that darn crocheting video.
That is not true. I gave you the leftover lemonade the other time.
Kim, I'm getting leggy growth. Do you not see this?
Oh,
That's what happens when I get dry. Don't be cheap.
I'm so sorry. It's just you're right, Porky. You're my only friend right now, and like I should take more care of you.
It's time for a change, Kim.
Okay, I'm gonna stop. this is my own doing.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
And, you know, really enjoyable, really fun, very quirky, maybe not entirely what you had in mind, Kim, but this was a day of experimentation. We appreciate your inspiration, and we appreciate the opportunity to play with you. And if you listened to that and you were like, no, I don't want to have a talking chia pet, that's okay. This just happened in the air, and they spoke the words, and that's what made the scene. But now it's over, and now we can move on, or we can jump into a different setup or a different improv, and we can write something completely different if we didn't like what we wrote. But I do want to take a moment to thank Tara and Jerry for joining us in this workshop today and lending their talents and their voices, and hopefully the ability to show you how easy it could possibly be to come up with some quick dialogue, which is the homework for today. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
And you know what? That's it for today. I hope seeing these two performers jump into these on their feet playwriting experiments can show you, like I said, just how easy developing dialogue can be. It doesn't have to all make it into the play. And if you don't like what you wrote, it's okay. We're experimenting. And if you don't like it, throw it away and experiment with new words and try those. And just remember, as you're experimenting, some of those elements of dialogue that throughout today were really successful in creating invigorating and exciting performances. Don't give everything away right away. Keep it light, keep the dialogue tight. Let things be revealed naturally and flow realistically through your characters, through their real experiences. Steer clear of all of that exposition and just try to explore the subject of your plays through performable action rather than reiteration. And that this handout, the 10 lines of dialogue, this is your homework this week. Go ahead and fill it out as an experiment. If for whatever reason you can't fill out the chart itself, you can just send me directly 10 lines of dialogue. Play with as many scenarios as you want, especially if you have the time. It's your quarantine. If you'd like to share your work with me as a piece I may potentially use in my workshop, just like I did today, please do. It helps me. And I'd love to read your work and provide you some feedback on it. You can email me at kharoff@theoldglobe.org. I love getting your emails. Thank you to everyone who's been sending me so much fabulous, inspiring stuff throughout this. Now I'm going to take a moment and see if anybody's saying things in the comments section to me, especially if anybody's sharing their 6. Oh my gosh, we've got so many beautiful 6-word memoirs. I'm going to share a couple of them with you. Okay. Being inside the room, not outside. Yes, that is my memoir today as well. Hiking Mount Whitney for our wedding. This is beautiful. I might cry. I apologize in advance if I cry at your 6-word memoirs. They're just gorgeous. Waves don't matter anymore to me. I don't even know what that means, but I'm inspired by you. Bliss from my own body, miracle. Time stopped. I floated, joined, won. Surrounded by warm breezes and sunshine. Oh, that's beautiful. Cyprus, Tuscan cats on the table. I don't know what that means, but I love it. On the train to KLM interview. Ooh. I'm going to look up what KLM is because I'd like to know what your interview is. You're going to be on TV? Art and music make life soar. That's beautiful. And I'm guessing there are no questions today. Everybody is just really clear and just excellent digital host, you're welcome, I guess. I'm just kidding. Of course, you can always send me questions after the fact at my email, kharoff@theoldglobe.org. I've been having a lot of fun chatting with all of the new people popping up in my email, so don't be a stranger. Feel free to reach out. And I'm going to let you go a little early today, and I can't wait to read your 10 lines of dialogue on Thursday at 3 o'clock. For those of you who want to share. And if you're interested, again, tomorrow right here, also at 3 o'clock, we'll be back with Laura Zablit with Behind the Curtain, with special guests, our properties master of the Old Globe, Dave Buis. I can't wait to watch that. I hope you'll be there too. And I hope to see you all again on Thursday at 3 o'clock for the next Community Voices. Happy writing, everyone.